The first game I want to talk about is Georgia and Auburn, man. This feels like an uncomfortable game to talk about because Gunnar Stockton, he had a decent game. He went 24 for 37, 217 yards, no touchdowns. The team had 79 rushing yards. I'm looking at this box score before recording this and doing some research on what to talk about, different stats that I need, and I'm looking at it and it's like, man, Auburn beat them in a lot of ways. Auburn won't beat them by a mile on third down. Georgia had more yards, but Auburn smoked them in the running game, smoked them in the rushing game. I think the reason why they won was because of Gunnar Stockton and him being able to make timely throws and important throws to his receivers. But what really got me, and I'm not the kind of person that is ever going to blame a game on the refs. I'm never going to do that because there are so many different plays that if you just do something better earlier in the game, you're not in that situation to begin with, right? But to me, I'm looking at this box score and I'm like, okay, a lot of these stats should be leaning towards an Auburn win. And then I see they had 40 more penalty yards than Georgia did. And I'm not saying that this game was won or lost because of the refs, but I think we can all agree that the officiating was absolutely abysmal in this game. And we will talk about that in a second. I want to wait until after we talk about Auburn. Jackson Arnold was 19 for 31. He had a pretty good game. He didn't look that bad to me, honestly. He looked serviceable. He had 137 yards, 55 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown. Cam Coleman had a kind of a quieter game than I thought he would have. He had 7 catches for 50 yards. Auburn, I think, was the better team in this game. I really think that Auburn should have won this game. It was at Jordan-Hare. They're playing good. They dominated the first half. I think Auburn should have won this game. And I think you need to focus on Hugh Freeze here. And I think you need to have kind of an uncomfortable conversation about it. Because if you're up 10-3, I don't care what happened at the end of that first half. It was a mess. Everyone knows it was a mess. But you are up 10-3 on Georgia. You just dominated every aspect of the first half. Completely. You're at home. You're at Jordan-Hare where wild happens all the time. All the time. You have to get that done. If your job is on the line, like Hugh Freeze's is, and now it even is more on the line playing Mizzou this weekend, you have to get that done. You're in a situation that you are favored in that scenario. I think, like, if I'm putting money on who's going to win this game before the 2 minutes timeout, I'm putting all my money on Auburn. They were dominating every aspect of that game. You can't let the refs affect you that much. I know that last 2 minutes was handled the worst I think I've ever seen a football team handled by referees. But you can't let your team have that mindset of, oh, we're getting screwed. Even though you probably are. You got screwed against Oklahoma, and now you're getting screwed again by the officials. But you can't have your team in that mindset. You, as a coach, cannot have that mindset of, oh, the games are controlled, or this game is getting controlled by the refs. You have to go into that locker room and say, we're in control of this game. We just dominated them for a half. Go out there, do it again. It should be 17-0 right now. Go out there, do what you just did, get the job done, and let's go to Mizzou. That's what you need to be doing in that locker room. You can't, like the reporter interview that he had going into the locker room, you could tell he was holding himself back from saying what he wanted to say. He was not happy. I wouldn't be either. I think he handled that interview better than I would have. That's why he's getting paid millions of dollars to coach. I'm sitting on my couch, right? But you can't go into the locker room and spread that to your team, right? I don't think you can have that mindset of the refs are controlling this game and then go into the locker room. I think that is just a horrible and infectious way of thinking that will get your whole team to play like they did in the second half, which was not good enough at all. They completely fell apart. They didn't score in the second half. The final score was 20-10. They were up 10-3 at halftime. You have to get that game done. You have to get the job done. You have to. But let's talk about it. Okay, let's the 2 minutes. So I had my friend over to watch this game. We're watching the Michigan game on my TV, and we're watching this Auburn and Georgia game on my projector. And I kid you not, the 2 minute timeout happened about the same time that Michigan and USC went to halftime. They came out of the tunnel. I think USC had about either a full drive or at least half of a drive done by the time that the Georgia Auburn game finally went to halftime. The first thing was the goal line overturn. I don't care what you think if he got in or not. It was close. Anyone who's saying it wasn't even close, it was close. Okay, it was very clearly close. That's why it took forever for them to review it. And in my opinion, they got it wrong. I think that he was in. I'm pretty certain he was in. Either way, what should have happened if you didn't think he was in, Georgia took that ball, never touched the ground, and scored a touchdown. Why did they not get 7 points from that? They just blew it dead where they recovered the ball. Why? Where did that come from? What gave them the idea that that was a possibility in that scenario? No, that's not what happened at all. Like it's either Auburn gets 7 points or Georgia gets 7 points. Anything in between that is wrong. And they made the wrong call. It does not matter if he was in or out of that end zone. That call that they made was wrong. Now, whenever you do give Georgia the ball, you call a targeting call, which was kind of iffy, which we can talk for hours and hours about how stupid the targeting call is in college football. It's either A, you didn't do anything wrong and you made a clean tackle, or B, you're trying to kill the other team and you use the crown of your helmet, you're gone. No, that's not how football works. Accidents happen. It's a physical game where you are tackling the other person to try and get what you want. There's going to be incidental contact to the head. That's why they wear helmets. That's what the helmet was invented for, was to protect heads because they're running into each other, okay? That's what they're for. If you cannot accept the fact that there are levels to trying to take a kid's head off, but also just making a clean tackle that you accidentally happen to hit the crown at the top of the helmet on his helmet. Those are two completely different things, and you have to add the fact that we're still having this conversation after years and years and years of this has been an issue since I was a child, that they don't have levels to a targeting call. It's either black or white, and that's not how college football tackles are. They're 18 to 22-year-old kids. They don't know exactly what they're doing. They're not professionals. You can't throw a kid out just because, a few weeks ago, whenever Jayshon Barnum, I'm a Michigan guy, whenever Jayshon Barnum got thrown out of I forgot who we were playing, but he missed the first half of the Oklahoma game because he turned his head slightly and the top of his helmet because he had to go down to tackle this short quarterback because he's huge, so he has to go down to tackle him, and his helmet hits the top of his helmet. He's out for the rest of the game and the first half of the Oklahoma game. That's stupid. That is just stupid. Not to mention that the play that Auburn made on him, I don't even really know if that was targeting. Okay, I think it was close. I haven't seen many arguments in this. But either way, he should not have been thrown out of the game for that. That killed all the momentum. If the goal line call didn't kill all the momentum, that did. That killed all of Auburn's momentum in the first half. And it was agonizing to watch. I'm having my friend who's a huge Georgia fan just laughing because he knows that it is just utter bull. And that is horrible, okay? That's horrible. You cannot do that as a ref. That part actually isn't on those refs. It's the rule and the way that the rule is written that is completely wrong. We're not even done here, okay? How many stops do we need at the end of a half to get a single call right? They would not stopping the game. How do you lose that much control where you don't even know what you're seeing, that you have to go record and revise everything that you have called. What are you doing as a ref? Like, if you can't make the call, just leave. Just leave. If you can't make a call, if you don't know what happened on the play, just go home. We don't need you, okay? If we're going to have just a bunch of replays over and over and over again for every play, we don't need you. You can just go home. You can just go home. And then what made me so mad, and on this drive, Georgia missed a field goal, and I told my Georgia friends, like, I don't feel bad for you at all. Is this how we clap these days? Because this doesn't make a clapping noise. I don't know if my microphone's on. I don't hear a clapping noise from this. That moment that you see Kirby come running out on the field like, I'm clapping, I was clapping. And then you visibly see the ref go. And then it instantly cuts to Kirby sprinting down the sideline, going like this. Oh my gosh, it was hysterical at that point. That's how bad the refs were. He's sprinting down the sideline with a tee in his hands. And the refs decide to say, oh no, we're not going to give a delay of game penalty, even though there was 1 second on the clock. No, we're not going to charge them a timeout. We're not going to do anything to them. It's nothing. What? How do you see that and be like, okay, there's 1 second on the clock. Okay, maybe he didn't call a timeout. I'm just trying to put myself in those shoes. If I see Kirby Smart screaming at me, I didn't call a timeout. Like, I'm clapping is what I heard. Okay, I heard that through the hot mic on the ESPN broadcast, and it was hilarious. But if I said that, I'm like, okay, maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't. But there was 1 second on the clock, on the play clock, and you don't give him a delay of game. It's like, if you are doing something that a ref would think is calling a timeout, you should get a penalty anyways. That's my opinion. I don't care if you were, or what you were or weren't doing, even though he was literally, you could visibly in slow-mo see him going like this. I don't care. If you're doing anything that a ref thinks could be a timeout being called, that should be a delay of game. The fact that there was 1 second on the play clock and they didn't give them a delay of game is absurd. Just absurd. Like, I don't care if he was clapping or calling a timeout. Something has to happen. There should never be a time, unless there's a ref error in what they are doing, that the clock stops and resets. At least the play clock. What were they thinking? That was the worst refed game I have ever seen. And I'm not a Georgia or an Auburn fan. I don't care who wins that game. I think it'd be cool to see Auburn win that game, rush the field. I always cheer for field rushes. But you got to be better, man. And the fact that Kirby and Hugh Freeze have to go, and even the players have to go answer to the media, but the refs just get to go home, not answer any questions, not face any backlash, not really face any punishment that we know about. And they just get to go home. No consequences. For a terribly refed game where I believe that every single one of those refs should be fired. I don't care who you are. I don't care how many years that you've been doing that. Every single one of those should be fired because a game should never get out of hand the way that that did. I feel for Auburn fans. I do. This is the second time it's happened this year where there's been a game that they were in that was just terribly mismanaged. I feel for them. I'm not going to say that that was the reason that you lost the game because you had a lead 10-3 at halftime and you still lost. But I feel for you.